Animal Crossers, and welcome back to Ladybug Island. This is my island inspired by 2000s nostalgia and my own childhood. We've made a ton of progress on this island, and today I'm planning on tackling another huge build on Ladybug, the island's museum. I grew up in the time of Bill Nye and the Magic School Bus, where science was super exciting and all about discovery and being kind to the planet. I wanted to make a grand area for my museum that captures all of those themes: dinosaurs, bugs and fish, research, stargazing, epic terraforming. I want Ladybug's museum to have it all. If you like Animal Crossing videos, you're in luck because I post daily shorts and weekly videos, so be sure to subscribe and join your fellow Animal Crossers. Sit back, relax, and let's get started with episode 6 of this island design series. Welcome to the bulletin board, where I give you any fast and quick island updates that are unrelated to today's island designing before we get into it. Not much has happened here on Ladybug since you've last seen it, so I'll just show you this really cute video of my cat Levi and this cute new plant that I just adopted. So where is Ladybug's Grand Museum going to be located? I thought we could use this back left corner of my island, which is already framed nicely by the river and has these 3 bridges connecting to the area. I think it's the perfect amount of room for some cool terraforming and a bunch of different themed outdoor exhibits. This plan also leaves the bottom left corner of my island the only thing left to decorate. Wow, honestly, I'm just now realizing how little of island we have left after this. Anyways, back to preparing this area for the museum. This space is mostly empty. There's just a lot of trees, flowers, and my island's campsite up here, which I've decided to leave in the area for reasons you'll see later. As for everything else, I removed it all. Every tree, flower, stick, rock, and yes, even every single weed from the area was pulled, and I got rid of this tiny pond that came with the island's default layout. Once I had everything cleared out, it was time to visit some treasure islands because this is going to require a ton of very specific items that I do not have. If you've been to treasure islands, you know how frustrating it is with other players flying in and out of the island. I mean, I don't mind other people, but the loading screens are atrocious and they last forever. Usually I just take that time mindlessly scrolling on social media, but with today's sponsor Free Cash, I can actually use that time to rack up rewards instead. It's super easy to make a little extra by doing offers or playing games. Then you can use those rewards by cashing out to PayPal, Amazon, and more. Free Cash is a global online platform where you can earn actual money by doing simple things like playing mobile games or filling out surveys. They have a 4.8 star rating and over 210,000 reviews on Trustpilot, so you know it's legit. Browse through the earn page, enable tracking, and find a mobile game that you like to play. Free Cash actually contains some of the highest rated mobile apps from the App Store, like Solitaire, which I already play all the time. Now I can play the game and my balance goes up. Sign up with my link or scan the QR code on the screen with your phone's camera. It's free to join, and when you're ready to cash out, it's super easy and there are a ton of options, like my favorite, PayPal. Thank you to Free Cash for sponsoring today's video. Now let's get back to designing my island. Now it's time to start terraforming and putting our plan for this museum into action. I want this bridge here to be the main entrance into the museum area, so I planned on centering everything with it. The idea is for the museum building to be up on a cliff with double staircases, front and centered, surrounded by several themed outdoor exhibits. I took the in-game dirt pathway, and starting from the bridge, I led it up towards the cliffs, making it only 2 wide. The rest of the road that I used on my island is 4 wide, but I thought it would be interesting to switch it up for the museum. Plus, having less pathway would give me more room for the huge outdoor exhibits I was planning. I wanted this pathway to make a T shape with another pathway up here connecting to this bridge on the right and beyond all the way over to where the land meets the beach on the left. Next, I wanted to clean up the shape of this cliff a little bit so that it would all be flush with the pathway in the front and against the beach on the left side. Once I had that done, I started planning out the locations for the double staircases. At first, I placed them centered with the entry pathway with 4 blocks between them. I carved 2 blocks deep into the cliff for each staircase and then brought the cliff in between them forward 1 block so that it's right up against the pathway. This was looking so satisfying, and I was so happy until I suddenly remembered that the museum needs to be centered with all of this, and that building is 5 blocks wide, so this was not gonna work. I moved over this left incline by 1 block, so now there were 5 blocks between each staircase, and the museum can be easily centered with those. But now there was another problem: the entry pathway. It's 2 blocks wide, so it can't be centered here, and look, my brain was working really hard trying to solve this problem and figure out a way for all of this to work. I even called him back up and had Patrick try to figure it out, but we came to the conclusion that it was impossible for the 5 block wide museum to be centered with this 4 block wide bridge and the 2 block wide road, so it was just gonna have to stay like this. I took turns time traveling and placing infrastructure kits to move in all the inclines in the museum itself. You might remember from the last episode that this bridge over here is actually part of a double bridge design that I made, so I wanted to connect the second upper level bridge to the museum pathway up here. I used these green bricks on this side, so I repeated that and connected it to my dirt pathway over here. I realized that this was centered with the campsite above, which I'm going to convert into the museum's space center and stargazing area. So I went ahead and led the pathway to the cliff and cleaned up the cliff shape and added another incline going up there as well. I time traveled one last time to get everything in place, and now we had the base layout for our museum build. Before we start getting into the details, I wanted to add my regular path border to the dirt pathway to finish off the road. Since this road is 2 blocks wide, the regular path sides ended up looking really weird, so I decided to try something different. At first I covered the dirt in these bricks that match my road, but it was way too overwhelming, so I removed some to make them alternate with the plain dirt pathway. This looked way better, but I wasn't convinced, so I tried adding in this green brick too, but I hated that, so I decided to go back to the original plan. Now that all that's done, it's time to start adding the magic. I wanted to showcase a bunch of different botanical items and make a diverse display of plants and wildlife in a grand entrance to the museum area right off this bridge. I thought it would be really pretty and would just look super satisfying and beautiful. I started by taking some hedges and lining the sides of the path, leaving one space between each hedge. In between the hedges, I added these hyacinth lamps, round street lamps, and these bunny day balloons. Then I started putting together this symmetrical botanical display on either side of the path. I used a ton of different natural items like the pine tree, mushroom partition, these cherry blossom umbrellas that look like giant flowers, and I placed some gyroids around to add sounds to the space. I was super inspired by botanical gardens that I visited in real life, where they just have an arrangement of all kinds of different plants from all kinds of different places. For the gyroids, I chose the brustoid and the spikenard since those made the most sense to me because they sound like natural birds and bugs. I used a ton of different shrubs instead of the usual azaleas that I've been using all over the island, and I kept everything symmetrical as possible. When adding flowers to the area, I decided to break the symmetry a little but kind of keep it still going. I alternated pairs of colors, so where I put pink hyacinths on this side, I put orange tulips on the other, and same with green mums and yellow lilies and the white cosmos and lily of the valleys. I added mush logs with nova lights on top, and my favorite detail from the botanical entrance, I placed these symmetrical mammoth fossil displays. I continued filling up the space with more items that I thought fit well, like mushroom lamps, bug models, statues, and more flowers. In this little spot between the staircases in front of this cliff, I made a cute seating area with the Brewster cookies since his cafe is in the museum. I was feeling really happy with how the botanical display was looking at this point, and I really didn't want to add any more to it, but there were still these little leftover spaces on either side of the T-shaped pathway, so I decided to turn them into a cozy picnic area and a community garden. Starting with the cozy picnic area, I thought it would fit perfectly in this space on the right near the double bridges. This museum build is highly inspired by field trips that I took in my childhood, and I feel like we always had to bring a packed lunch to those, so I wanted to make a picnic where you could eat your packed lunch for the day. I laid out the blanket, added a fence to frame it, and of course included some food for whoever is picnicking here. To fill up the rest of the space, I went with a countryside theme and included items like a windmill, a museum angled sign, these mountain standees, this retro transportation stop, and a wagon. Now for the space on the left side over here, let's make a community garden. I started with all the crops except for pumpkins and planted them with one space in between. I was gonna leave them like this, but decided to add dirt pathway in between to complete the rectangular dirt patch, which I ended up liking better. I wanted to keep this side loosely symmetrical to the other, so I placed some fencing in the same fashion and included another angled signpost. This time the sign has a little fish pointing to the beach because I'm planning on making a fish study there. I spruced up the area with a ton of garden items that I thought made sense, using this flower display case as the centerpiece. I removed some of the fence to make room for this outdoor pond, which I'm so glad I did because it seriously makes this area look so much better. I finished the community garden with a party lights arch, some more plant items, and this cute gyroid. I made sure to water the crops every day until they grew too, to make sure that they grew in super full and looked really good. Now that we got the plant/botanical outdoor exhibit done, I thought it would be perfect for the outdoor fish exhibit to be on this beach and kind of like a research area. I didn't have any specific ideas, I just wanted it to look like fish were being studied here, so I obviously chose decor that fit into a beachy study vibe. I decorated this back rock first since I thought that this yellow lighthouse would be perfect as a backdrop for the entire beach. I feel like I always add lighthouses to my beaches, but they look so good, can you blame me? Over on this rock, I added a study table complete with a microscope, fish, and a pink laptop because don't forget this island is 2000s girlhood nostalgia themed, so I wanted to make sure pops of that came through even in this fishy area. I set up another study spot over here for this crab, and then I made an entrance display sort of thing over here where you first enter the beach, which includes a donation box if anyone wants to donate to the fish research that's happening back here, plenty of weeds, and added some more colorful design codes to the sand to pull it all together with the rest of my island. I time traveled to see the coconut grow and to overgrow the weeds, and I love the way that this fish research station turned out. The museum doesn't have space right in front of it, but there is this little patch here between the double staircases, so I thought that we could make a little entrance display for the building. I'm not gonna lie, I struggled so much with this little spot. I tested out so many item combos and they all just looked off. I don't know why, but they did. The only part that I really liked was the opposite mantis models that I placed. I ended up just leaving those with this log bench and coming back to the area later to add some flowers. Other than that, to wrap up the museum's entrance area, I placed 2 more of these Bunny Day balloon items. Now it's time to tackle the outdoor insect exhibit, which is going to be directly to the left of our museum's entrance up on this cliff. I started by bringing over some of the dirt pathway, and then I suddenly decided that we needed some more cliffscaping and some waterfalls and ponds up here. Especially since this is an area for bugs, I feel like having a natural feature with water would make sense for the insects to live in. I made a small cliff pretty close to the edge here, and then took my waterscaping tool to make a tiny pond and waterfall. This looked really cute, but I felt like it needed a lot more, so I added another waterfall connecting to the first and a tiny pond on the lower level for it to pour into. Now this is looking a lot more natural and like it could be a great habitat for some bugs. I finished bringing in the dirt pathway, added my colorful brick design to it, then I brought in some flowers, shrubs, and trees to fill not only just the insect spot we're working on, but also this is when I added some stuff to the entrance area too. Once I had some natural stuff in the area, the vision started coming to me and I decided that I wanted to build another little research station down here against the cliff's edge, this time for the bugs. And then I'll just have the rest of the place be a natural habitat full of different bug models. I fenced off a small space with some yellow iron fencing for the study zone and set up a sloppy table with some bugs, a camera, and another pink laptop. I kept adding bug models, flowers, shrubs, and any other items I thought would fit until the space was full and I literally couldn't fit anything else. Back in this area behind the insect exhibit and the museum building itself, I wanted to create a dinosaur exhibit with tons of fossils. I started by laying out the dirt pathway back here. I went with a simple T-shape again so that you could just walk along the back of the island and it would be full of dinosaurs. Once I had the pathway done, I went to a treasure island and grabbed a ton of different fossils, not really knowing what they looked like, but just grabbing enough to cover the area. There isn't much room back here, literally just enough for the fossil displays and some hedge fencing, so it didn't take long to place some fossils down and get this area wrapped up. Back in this area where there wasn't room for another full fossil, I put the smaller one down on top of some green brick, which I thought added a nice detail to this area. Once I had all the fossils here, I did some landscaping, adding a ton of flowers and some trees too. I feel like this part really made it come together. This is also when I decided to add a little toy dinosaur to the picnic that we built in the botanical entrance area earlier. I had to show this because he's so cute. Comment down below any name ideas for him. Now for the last build segment of today's episode, the Space Center. I want most of the Space Center to be up on this cliff here, but there's also this transitional area down here connecting our museum to the Space Center cliff and to this bridge over here too. I decided to start down here, and y'all, I was struggling with this area too. I experimented a lot with different items and layouts at the beginning, and it took me a while to finally settle on something that I liked. I used some of the zodiac sign items and also tried to include different vending machines for any museum visitors. Let me know what you think of how this part turned out. This area is a little random. Now let's head up onto the cliff for the actual Space Center. My campsite is supposed to act like the observatory of this area, and I'm hoping that it will have the full tent on the island's dream address when you guys come to visit, because it really looks like an observatory when it's full like that. I time traveled to try and find a day when a camper was on my island for this video to show you, but I failed. So yeah, you're gonna have to use your imagination, but it's okay. That's perfect since that's what Kidcore nostalgia is all about. I really wanted to use the gazebo item since it reminds me of an observatory too, and I thought that it would fit really well here. My original plan was to place it directly between the campsite and the staircase to kind of combine it with the campsite as one giant observatory-esque type thing, but it wouldn't fit here, so I settled on placing it to the left of the campsite instead. To balance things out, I placed a pergola directly on the other side, and then I added these floating asteroids in the front of the campsite to keep the symmetry going and to add some more celestial vibes to the area. On the right side with the pergola, I laid out a picnic blanket and added a telescope for some stargazing. I also threw in some fun space-themed items to fill up the area and make make it more on theme, like the astronaut and satellite. On the left side with the gazebo, I decided to go with an alien theme and add a UFO. Then I fenced off the area, placed a table with some celestial items, and to finish everything off, I made another symmetrical display, this time with crescent moon chairs. With that, we were done with the entire build, all of the outdoor exhibits, and it was time to finally tour it all together. Okay, Animal Crossers, let's start at this bridge going right into the botanical entrance. I love how this looks so much. All of the little gyroids like moving around and making sounds is amazing as well. I love the view up here too. Let me go back and show you how it looks. It's so pretty. I wish that you could see the museum off in the distance, but it's okay. It's too far away. This build is way too big. And before we actually get into everything, let me show you what it looks like on my island's map. I think this area turned out so cool. I love the waterscaping in the bug exhibit. I'm really glad that I decided to add that in. Back to the botanical entrance here. This looks so colorful and cozy. I love the little seating spot with the Brewster cookie as well. And over here on the right side, we can go to the picnic area, which turned out so cute. This kind of reminds me of like a Japanese countryside island, and it makes me want to just make an entire Japan themed island, I'm not gonna lie. I also love how this looks with the symmetrical stuff above it. Look at this view. Look at that. That is so cute. The little what are those goats? They're like kissing up there. It's so cute. Now let's head over to the left side to check out the community garden. I also love how this space turned out. The little gnome is so cute. He's like running the entire place. I also added a little pocketbook here with some flower like studies going on, which I thought was really fitting. And over on the beach is our fish exhibit, which is also a research station. Let me clean up some of these seashells. There's not supposed to be that many. Oh yeah, and I added a snapping turtle while you were not looking, so he's here now. There's some research areas back here. This is looking so cute. Let's head up to our actual museum up here. This is the little entrance spot that I was struggling with so much. I actually like how it ended up being so simple. I think I wanted something more grand, but the truth is this area was just way too small for something like that. I did add this little like bug book though, which I thought looked really cute. And to the left, speaking of bugs, this is our bug exhibit and research station area. I love this so much. The little ponds are so cute. Again, the waterscaping, I'm really glad that I decided to add that. And this little spot here is super cute too. I feel like I'm a little researcher. And then there's also the giant T-Rex in the back, which looks really nice. And the T-Rex is back there because this is the outdoor fossil exhibit. I love this spot too. I think this might be my favorite spot of this entire build. I think it's so cool. All the fossils at the back of the island just look really nice. The view back there is super cool with just like the endless ocean. Yeah, it's really pretty. Now let's walk this way and go see the final outdoor exhibit. There's this transitional space here that leads up over to it. This is pretty simple. There's not much happening here, just some vending machines and a little walkway with some of the zodiac sign items, because this leads into the space center of the museum. This is so cute. I wish that my campsite tent was here because I swear it's gonna look so much better, but you'll just have to use your imagination. On the left side is like an alien UFO themed area with the gazebo and the little like lookout tourist telescope thing. And then on the right side is a little astronaut telescope rocket satellite themed area. I don't know, like I just threw a bunch of random stuff here, but I think it looks good. Okay, it looks cute. It's space themed, and that was the point. I think that the trees and the little moon chairs are definitely the best part of this. Thank you all for watching another Ladybug Island design episode. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. We only have a small section left to decorate on the island, so the end is near. Let me know what island theme you think I should try on my next island. Thank you so much to our channel members. You're all amazing, and I appreciate you so much. Remember to take care of yourselves, Animal Crossers, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!